I would have walked in commencement that day had I not been assaulted. So this is the path that just goes from the back of our house. When something like this happens, it's really hard to trust people, to put yourself out there. But I would come out here by myself, and this was sort of the first place I felt comfortable going. You know, it was always a slow walk, and I didn't usually get that far. But now I can get a lot farther, which is exciting, to be making progress and to be getting better. I first called the Brown Sexual Assault Crisis Line 5 days after the assault. It was through that process of calling the crisis line that I was connected to various administrators, deans, advocates, faculty, who gave me sort of their rundown of the options. They made it sound that it was exclusive. I could either report to the university or I could file a criminal report with the police. And I was given a lot of encouragement that the university process would be more humane, would be shorter, would ultimately keep me safe with less re-traumatization, and that was the way that would most likely keep me in school and keep me on track to graduate. I first just saw that he had been found responsible for all 4, and I was so relieved. And then I read to the bottom of the page where it said the sanction, and I just was terrified. I couldn't imagine how Brown could be what it said it was and still let someone found responsible of these 4 things come back in less than a year and get their degree. I appealed the decision. I did not think that the sanctions were proportionate to the offense.
If all we ever dealt with in the US was a stranger holding you down at knife point and raping you, that's easier for the public to wrap their head around and say, oh, I get it, that's violent, that's terrible. But there are people on a college campus who would like to dismiss date rape or acquaintance rape and say, well, come on, it's he said, she said. So did it really happen?
You might hear my story and think, this is a new problem, and we have documented evidence that it most certainly is not.
This was a problem 25 years ago while I was there. We were the epicenter of this campus-wide, and what grew to be a nationwide movement against sexual assault and harassment. It was going on at other schools, prompted, I think, by the rape list at Brown.
Brown. Is there a hotter school in America today than Brown University? Here is our recreation of what you might find on the wall of the women's rooms of Brown University. Actual name of the guy written on the stall wall is a rapist. Nothing can get him off campus. Rich white boys can do whatever they want.
Women students, as a result of being very frustrated with going to certain administrators and disclosing that they had been sexually assaulted, began to write on a bathroom wall of the Rockefeller Library. And they wrote things like, beware of Joe Blow, he doesn't take no for an answer.
The administrators weren't concerned about how many women were being assaulted. They were worried that men's rights were being violated by being put on this list. In addition to professors calling us magic marker terrorists, the men started a counter list of women who need to be raped.
Women who wanted to bring their cases through have had to deal with stuff like that being said to them. This case can be boiled down to bad chemistry. So you're the one with the little romance gone sour to a rape survivor.
Who said that?
That was the dean.
And so instead of trying to fix the problem of sexual assault, the response from the university was to repaint the doors in black so no one could write on them.
All of a sudden, the cameras were all coming to Providence, and it was in the news that there was this rape list.
The media has trivialized this, okay, in my opinion. This is a serious topic. This is a very important topic. We don't want to be divided on this topic either.
Brown University has, in the past, trivialized the issue to an incredible degree. If people think writing on the wall is ludicrous, I think it's ludicrous that when a man pleads guilty to rape, the only punishment for him is that he has to write the victim, or I prefer to say survivor, an apology note, or that a note is sent to his football coach.
In my case, I mean, the men admitted to being involved, and they had to run extra laps at football practice. One of the reforms we were pushing for at the time was to have sexual misconduct be an actual offense. There was nothing in the Code on Student Conduct about that. Yet, at the same time, the Disciplinary Review Board was hearing some pretty serious stuff, including embezzlement, credit card fraud, arson, but there was nothing about sexual assault or sexual harassment. Ordinarily, you're not necessarily going to see the person who assaulted you on a daily basis. But on campus, you're in this very unique environment where you all do have to live together and eat in the same places and learn in the same places.
I don't think campuses hearing them means they don't go to the police. They're not mutually exclusive. But for some women, it's really scary to go to the police. The reputation of the court system for adjudicating or handling sexual assault cases is not great.
It also will take years to unfold in the criminal justice system. You would be graduated by the time you were even approaching trial.
I think universities are capable of handling sexual assault cases. If you can't educate a college community on this stuff, who can you educate?
So, we're out here today in support of Lena, in support of other survivors, in celebration, but also in recognition that Brown needs to do better.
The only reason that he's not going to be returning to campus is because I came forward and told my story publicly. Ultimately, we should not be having to tell our story to the media and to the whole world in order to get justice. That shouldn't be what's happening, but that's what it came to in my case, and that's what it's come to for a lot of survivors across the country.
I mean, it really does make my heart sink when I see it happening again and kind of have to relive that and feel like we didn't make any difference.
Lunas Flow filed a Title IX complaint against Brown University for gender discrimination, so we see the Title IX in the past. In solidarity with Columbia also, they did the same thing, and other universities. We're doing this to spread awareness, show that students care, and we think this is a problem. Happy graduation.
This has been a problem at campuses across the nation, year after year, decade after decade. And at some point, it's got to stop.